Welcome to Ink Unleashed, where manga meets microphone, with your host, the Silent Sheepdog. Good day to you, my friend. My name is the Silent Sheepdog, manga author, illustrator, YouTuber, voice actor, and business owner, but you can call me Sheepdog. Welcome to my independently produced podcast, Ink Unleashed, where manga meets microphone. Here is where I focus on all things manga with a little bit of anime insights, and also where, as a manga creator myself, share my opinions and ideas. Also expect to hear weekly manga and industry news here on the podcast as well. Alright, so let's get into it, shall we, with episode 1. In the news, we have a personal insert from myself. Legend Audiovisual Comics released September 11th, 2023. Legend Audiovisual Comics is a brand new app that's revolutionizing the audio comic industry, hosting a selection of manga right now that will soon grow into a huge library of familiar favorites. I recommend you check it out and download it on the App Store and the Google Play Store when you have the chance. Legend also allows you to record yourself as your favorite characters right in the interface itself. It's really, really cool. Berserk Deluxe Editions are on a pretty great sale right now at Amazon, selling for about 32% off. Go and get that deal while you can. That's not a sponsored sale. If it was, I'd let you know. Courtesy of Anime News Network, Nippon TV to acquire Studio Ghibli as subsidiary. NTV would be the largest shareholder of Ghibli with 42.3% share. In a press conference, Suzuki admitted that a search for a successor for the studio's co-founders, which included studio's acclaimed director Hayao Miyazaki, was what prompted the acquisition plans. Suzuki noted that Miyazaki is 82 years old and Suzuki himself is 75. The studio did approach Miyazaki's son, Goro Miyazaki, many times to become a successor to run the studio, but the younger Miyazaki has so far refused all offers, and Hayao Miyazaki also opposes his son becoming the studio's head. Fooly Cooly Shoegaze anime premieres on September 30th, following Fooly Cooly Grunge's finale on September 23rd. Adult Swim's Toonami programming block announced on Saturday that the Fooly Cooly Shoegaze anime will premiere on September 30th at 12 a.m. EDT, effectively October 1st. Production IG USA's Maki Terashima Furuta confirmed on Twitter that Sunday, Toonami will air the third and final episode of the Fooly Cooly Grunge anime on Saturday. And finally in the news for this week, and also the biggest one, Japan is passing a law that is set to take effect in October 2023, which is requiring mangakas and VTubers to expose their identities, allowing the public access to them. From what I understand, this is a tax law in Japan. We will see how that plays out. So the first episode is mostly going to be an advice column from yours truly. I wanted to talk about the importance of manga creators, but also the creators of other media in general. How important it is to create what you love. I talk about this a lot on my YouTube channel, how we shouldn't create things for the sake of popularity or having that be our main goal. I know it's everyone's big dream to get published in a mainstream line like Shonen Jump, Viz, which are kind of intertwined, but Tokyo Pop, all those big players, and personally for me, it's Dark Horse. If you come here from my YouTube channel, you're highly aware of my love for dark and violent seinen manga and anime, and Dark Horse publishes Berserk, so of course I'd love to have my hat in that ring. But that intro is necessary to bring me to my own example. So I was picked up, for a lack of a better word, by Legend, the aforementioned publisher, and I wasn't really commissioned. It was a special kind of situation, but I ended up creating a manga for them by the name of Game On, Dream On. Has not released yet as of now, but it will be coming out soon. It's a slice-of-life manga about two brothers trying to make it big time as gaming streamers while fighting the battles of everyday millennial life. I myself have always created dark content. I love the stuff like Berserk, Chainsaw Man, Tokyo Ghoul, all the stuff that makes your skin crawl. I like manga like, forgive me, I always stutter over this one, Dorohedoro. Dorohedoro? I always hear it pronounced differently, but I love it. It's great. I just can't say the name very well. But it makes you go, what in the actual hell am I looking at? That's the stuff that sticks, right? I find there to be limitless creativity when you create such dark imagery because the human consciousness holds so many dark secrets that are unique to all these creators, and I'm so happy that they show their true imaginations, right? Junji Ito is another big one. I mean, that guy's got a really interesting imagination, and he's huge for it, right? And that's why we love them, because their ability and willingness to share what they really have in their minds. These mangakas are popular as well as their works because they're weird and shocking and otherworldly. They've got something going on that most of us will never even conceive in our dreams to tell a story about, and even if the premises could be the same, there's just nothing like this artist's portrayal of that same thought. So Game On is a really silly, upbeat, funny manga that really doesn't take itself too seriously. I obviously put myself in it, my experiences, my outlooks, all that good stuff, but it's definitely a departure from my usual work. My first ever published work was a few-page one-shot called Fench on Amazon Kindle. I didn't even sell a single copy. It was about this world of blood and like all kind of dark stuff, but basically it was my first published one shot ever, and it sucked. I've gotten so much better in the year since it released, but I sat there for 7 days straight and I committed to it. I sat down and I put my head in my laptop and my Wacom, Wacom, however you want to. I'm only gonna say it right if they sponsor me, because I hear people say it different all the time, but I say Wacom, right? And I drew and drew and drew from morning to night, 7 days straight. I would wake up, hop out of bed, make myself a coffee or grab an energy drink, and then get straight to drawing, and then I would stay up until like maybe 10 or 11 p.m. drawing until I was ready to pass out and do it all over again, and I did that for a week straight. At the end of those 7 days, I had a product that really wasn't good at all, and I mean, it was my first finished manga ever, right? But it was done. I did it. I finished something that I had set my heart on, and I told my story. With Game On, it is a departure from the vibe of that story if you read and compare the two, but even amidst the differences, it's still me. You can still see Sheepdog in the work. Humans are three-dimensional creatures. We have all kinds of different twists and turns in our psyches, and we have different experiences all in one life. And it's good to have a brand that people can identify you through, something that people immediately know it's you, of course, but you should never sell your soul to the market just for money, just for fame, right? I've lived in poverty all my life, and would I love to be this huge, successful mangaka with a huge following that sells and reaches billions? Of course I would. I wouldn't complain. But at the expense of selling myself away, no, not at all. I want to put out work with substance that means something to me and touches the people who read it. I want, at the end of the day, when they're done flipping through the chapters, they walk away with something. Now, am I saying don't listen to your editors or constructive criticism where it's necessary? Of course not. If it's small things that don't take away from what the work is or the message, I'm willing to compromise. If it sells more, that's just basic business, right? Not everything can be 100% creative or 100% business. There's a balance and a dynamic that has to take place. But if what you're trying to tell people gets lost in the dollar signs, I just want you to think about, why am I doing this? Why am I creating this in the first place? Is this a story that I really want to tell, or do I want to tell the teller a story about this check I'm cashing? You like that little play on words there? But anyway, I have other stories in mind that I'm working on that reflect the darker side of manga that I love and want to create. But in the meantime, Game On is my catalyst. It's going to be my first published series, and it's the perfect time to make mistakes and learn and develop and grow as an artist. And that way, my next series will be all the better for it. And I wholeheartedly want and will recommend always that you follow your dreams. I say that all the time. Don't give up on them. Pursue them with all you have. Even if you fail, you try it, right? You can always get up again. Failure is imminent in all of our lives anyway. There are mangakas who failed 5 times, 10 times before their next series was the one that hit. You have time. Use it wisely. God wakes you up every day with that desire, that purpose that he puts in your heart, and he's not done with you yet. So get up and draw what you love and tell your story. Success comes in many forms, and not all of them are monetary or found in Shonen Jump. Another thing that I'd like to talk about is that I saw a manga creator. He's very successful. I just hadn't heard of him before, so forgive me if I don't remember his name. But he talked about how working from home, especially if you are independent, which is usually where we're usually working just from whatever we have in our home studios, you need to sit down and discipline yourself almost more than going to a day job. You need to sit down and draw, even when you feel like you can't, even when you feel like you don't want to. It is a very disciplined way of life and a very disciplined field to get into. Let's say that your manga does take off. Wow, fantastic, right? I can't believe I got here. Well, now people are counting on you. You need to continue making the manga. Unless it was a one-shot, then congratulations, you're done, and that's passive income. But when it comes to creating a series, which most people end up doing, and I support, I think one-shots are very special and should be saved for stories that are meant to end in one go. But if you do have an idea that is better off as a series, you have to be willing to commit, because let's say you do get picked up, or even if you get independently published, you self-publish, there are now people looking for your product at a set time every week, month, what have you, whatever your publishing schedule is, and you have to deliver. It looks really, really bad on anyone who does not deliver on time as an artist, and this goes for the entire creative industry, whether you are an actor, a voice actor, a video editor, a cinematographer, a podcaster, an editor, whatever you are. If you are not delivering on time, that is extremely unprofessional, unreliable, and I guarantee you that, other than being a diva, not delivering on time will be the number one thing that will make people not want to work with you. So this is a line of work where you really have to sit down and say, do I have the discipline to make this first iteration? And then if I do, and it is successful, do I have the discipline to sit here Monday, sometimes through Sunday, with barely any sleep? Am I willing to subject myself to that? And am I willing to sacrifice that time in between to do what I love and to meet expectations that I have set for myself, I have set for my fans, and that my fans have set for me? I would sincerely recommend that if you are trying to get into the manga business, the illustration side especially, I personally write, illustrate, and edit all of my own works, so I'm quite busy, as you could probably guess. But if you're lucky enough to have a team or friends who you collaborate with to make these projects, but on the illustration side of this, you have to understand how stressful it's going to be, because drawing the manga is the most substantial part that is going to take the longest. And I would sincerely recommend, if you haven't gotten into this industry already, or you haven't started illustrating your own work yet, and you want to go big and you want to publish and you want to become a series, I would sincerely recommend that you go and watch videos on YouTube about professionals and how they operate, how they organize, how they get their life together, and stay healthy is a generous word, but let's be real, this industry is really brutal. It's much more brutal in Japan than it is in other countries because we are not on top of it like they are industrially speaking. We, especially as Americans, are not expected to commit to something like that because culturally it's not as significant, right? America is more so a consumer of manga and anime than a producer because obviously Japan is the biggest producer of it in the world. So the expectations and the timelines there and the qualifications and what have you, all that stuff, it's a lot higher. So you do have a little bit of leeway. But either way, if you're going to serialize or get published or commit to something like that, I sincerely recommend that you go look into the work culture of it. Not saying that American comic book artists, like people who work for, let's just say Marvel or, what have you, that their work is any less difficult. It's all the same thing. But specifically this Japanese manga culture, from what I have noticed, and I'm not speaking like I know everything about it, I'm just saying this is from what I've seen. I sincerely recommend you go and watch videos of professional mangakas, and their schedules and how they keep their lives together. It's a well-known fact that some of the most popular mangakas have died very young because this kind of work keeps you at a computer all day. They're sitting for hours and hours a day, getting 3 hours of sleep. And yeah, that is why they're successful, because they are in their tablet drawing constantly, or in their paper if they still work traditionally, but they are in there constantly dedicating themselves to the stories that they decided to write and create, and they know that people are depending on them, and they don't want to let them down. And also, it's their income. That's another thing we can talk about. When and if you quit your day job, I want to make it known that I don't have a day job anymore. I quit my day job a long time ago, but I have a special situation. But if you quit your day job and you pursue illustration full-time, oh, you better be ready to commit. That is the closing door that you need to be prepared to hear slam behind you. Not saying you can't go back into day jobs, but if you want to go full-time and you commit, you better be ready for it. And I sincerely recommend that before you do that, you prepare. I would never, ever, 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 ever tell someone to quit their stable day job that pays their bills and keeps them fed to go pursue an art career before they're ready. If you're ready, if you have a plan, if you've done your research, if you have the savings, go ahead. Follow your dreams, but 100% recommend having a game plan and having a substantial savings before you do that. But the work culture is hustle, hustle, hustle. It's hard on your body. I go to bed with neck and hip and back aches all the time. I'm trying to get into exercising a reasonable amount every day. But even then, it's hard. It's hard with all the things I have to do in between because I manage a lot of things without putting too much of my business out there. I manage a lot of things in the creative industry right now, and it's hard. It's hard to commit. It's hard to stay on top of it, especially as one person. If you are independent, you are in for a ride, my friend, and I don't say that to intimidate you. I hope that excites you, but I hope it excites you with a sense of caution as well. It's a rough industry to get into, but I 100% recommend anyone get into it if they are wanting to pursue it. Just do your research, be careful, know yourself, know what you can do so you're not overworking yourself or pushing yourself to the limit to where it's compromising your health or your relationships. But yeah. That is really all I have to say about that topic. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed the first episode of Ink Unleashed, where manga meets microphone. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you back here next week where I give you a rundown of one of my, in my own opinion, the coolest and most overlooked mangakas in the market. Their work is amazing, and it's not unpopular, yet I never hear anyone talk about them, so I want to put them in the spotlight and get their work out there to people who maybe haven't heard of them yet, or really just don't know about them, because I really sincerely love this series. So yeah, look forward to it, and I'll see you there. Sheepdog out.